Hey everyone, it's me, Donna. I wanted to make this video to elaborate more on my idea for bringing back antenna TV, but at a cost. Because, you know, living in the real world, I understand that companies are not going to bring it back for free. We can forget that, which we still have some remaining free over-the-air antenna TV, but for it to be mainstream, people have got to make money off of it. Since everything's changed over, they've went to cable and satellite and all that type of thing. But still, there is, even with cable and satellite, there is a void out in the rural communities out there, because either they don't provide good service there, or it's extremely costly and people just can't afford it. So my idea is to bring back basically antenna TV, antenna internet, phone, blah, 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 out to the rural communities. But I feel like maybe it would be best to call this actually tower to tower TV, in order to keep it from being confused with what's left of the antenna TV services out there. That way, you know, there's no real confusion between the two. Plus, my idea kind of consists of this kind of being a little bit different, even though it's going to use the whole megahertz systems. But once it transmits to your box, everything changes. When it turns into the whole digital thing, due to the programming that's been put in these boxes and the programming at the other end of the spectrum, as far as the input area, it will change everything as far as channels and all that, okay? But I'm going to try to explain that to the best of my ability. And again, I want to say I know hardly anything about antenna TV. I'm an idiot, okay? So I guess that's why I feel free to say what I want to say and come up with this crazy idea. But I do believe that it will work. I feel like I am onto something, and that even though it does have its ignorance, I still think that it is very doable and very viable, and it can be very profitable for a lot of people. I think this will create a lot of jobs and provide a service that is currently missing in the rural communities. So in my opinion, it solves a problem. So, hey, you know. Okay, from my understanding, there's low frequencies and high frequencies, and in that area in between, blah, blah, blah. All right, supposedly, if I understand correctly, many of the TV channels either operate on the lower frequencies, or shall I say lower frequency areas, and the higher frequency areas, which, like the lower frequency areas is, like VHF type stuff, and then the higher frequencies is the UHF areas, okay? So the lower frequencies are the areas between 54 and 88 megahertz, okay? And then the more higher areas are like from 174 to 216 megahertz, and then the 470 to 806 megahertz, okay? And then the in-between areas, that's usually reserved for radio stations, say like the 87.5 to 108 megahertz, and then the 76 through 90 megahertz areas. And you know, of course, I'm reading this off of Google from what I've researched, okay? All right, so there's areas in between to where a company could get up with the FCC and figure out what frequency they can be allowed to use, okay? They can figure out like the actual signal strength, how far the signal will go, and at what altitude, you know, the antenna, the height of the antennas that they would need in order to send out these signals, blah, blah, blah. and all that. Okay, so let's pretend like that part has been taken care of. They got that worked out with the FCC, and they've got that signal area, that dial, so to speak. Okay, they got that number that they can use, that they can send that signal out on. Okay, all right. Once they do that, then they can make their towers, their transmitter towers. They can set up these substations and put so many large transmitter towers across the United States. Okay, then they can turn around and create these smaller towers that are both receivers and transmitters. Like, they receive the signal from the big tower substations, and then they take that information and they transmit it out like in a radius type thing, and it will hit houses that have, like, the boxes. It will communicate with your boxes that way. Okay, all right. Once that is done, then the data that's being transmitted out, like, once all the packages are done, all the deals were done with all the networks and all that type of stuff, everything is put into that signal, because supposedly the megahertz will, it takes 1,000,000 hertz to make 1 megahertz. Okay, so from my guess, that would mean a whole lot of data can be transmitted onto this one signal. Okay, and especially if it gets compressed, then you can, like, double or triple or whatever your the media size that you can put into this one signal. Okay, so then you can transmit it out. Okay, then once it hits the box, the box that everyone, that people buy in their homes or whatever, okay, that signal will then, because everything will be scrambled and compressed and all that, okay, and of course it will be in analog form. Okay, so once it hits that box, then that box will, transfer it into a digital format. Okay, and due to good programmers out there who know how to make files and make a system that recognizes certain types of files, and it knows what to do with those files. Okay, this is going to sound complicated, but in my mind I've got it figured out. Okay, all right. Once that signal comes in with all these different medias on it, all right, the programmers have set it up to where the channels on your box will know where each type of media part of the signal goes to. Okay, like, say, like, if you transmit out on 76 point whatever signal, that's what the FCC gives you, so you send it out on that signal. Okay, once it hits your box, then all that stuff can be turned into different digital channels, like that this company creates, like, out of the blue. They can just assign those channels within the box, and that kind of like say, like cable does, or satellite or whatever. Like, the company can invent those channels, like, out of their butt. Like, they don't have to actually buy those channels or frequencies or anything like that. They got that one frequency, or that one signal that's coming in. Okay, and that one signal can then turn around and turn into several channels on your box. Okay, all right. So, and due to the identification process, as far as code and keys and all that stuff, your box will only, say, like, if you want to combine, if this company wants to combine the internet, the phone, and the TV service all in one signal, right? If it wants to send all that together in one signal, then once it hits your box, whatever your box does not recognize as belonging to it, then that signal will not be used. Like, if you've got the internet and the phone coming in and it hits your TV box, your TV won't do anything with it. Like it won't transfer it into a channel. It won't even give like an error code or anything like that. It just won't use it. It won't use that data or information that's coming in. Only if you have those other, the other box that goes to your phone or your internet or whatever, that's what will pick up that extra part of the signal, and it will be able to use it, and therefore it won't do anything with the data that's supposed to go to your TV box. Okay, does that make any sense? In other words, it's like a filter. Like anything that comes in that doesn't go through the filter and can't be be used for a specified channel or whatever, then it will just be ignored. Okay, like I said, I hope I'm making sense with this, because it makes perfect sense in my head, but it's just hard explaining it, okay? So once that happens, you can do it that way. Or they could buy extra channels, buy an extra 1 or 2 extra channels, and send the phone and internet out separate, however the company wants to do, depending on how much data it plans on trying to compress into said signal that it purchases from the FCC and all that type of stuff, okay? Well, anyway, all right. So like I said, let's just use your TV box, for example. Once those signals comes in and it knows what to do, then it can set up its own channels according to what's been programmed into it. Okay, and let's just say you've got like the YouTube network, they decide to jump on board and whatever. Okay, so it can have, say, like a channel of 95.2 and then 95.3, 95, I mean, the numbers could be endless, you know what I mean? But it can all be transferred into digital, and then you can get like HD or whatever, however, it can be done, okay? So that's how I see it. That's how I feel like this can be done. I really, truly feel like this is very doable, okay? But again, I'm ignorant. I don't know anything about it. So it would take a more brilliant mind than mine to figure this whole thing out. But I want to know from some of you smart people out there, am I close? I mean, does this sound doable to you? Do you have a clue as to what I'm babbling on about, So, just let me know, because I really want to know if this is possible, and I want to see it done. Because I want people out in the country to be able to say, hey, yeah, I can get internet, I can get phone, I can get TV at a very low price, way lower than cable or satellite, and I'm happy, I've got everything I need. I can take my camper. And what would be cool about these boxes is if you could move them from place to place. The only thing, as long as you've got your package deal, whatever, even though depending on the way that this company sets up each big tower, however, like the substations, like some states are going to be different than others. There's going to be different programming, especially local programming, the local news, all that stuff. Naturally, that stuff's going to be different. Okay, so if you do move from place to place, you will encounter that. Like if you move from one state to the other, or even one country to the other, like if this goes to Canada, Mexico, or whatever. You will be dealing with different channels and everything, but your box will be set up to automatically recognize that. And as long as you've got such and such package, whatever that package means in that particular state or that particular town or whatever, that's what you will get. You know what I'm saying? But at least it's transferable. Like you can take that box and it can be used anywhere. No matter where you go, as long as there's towers out there and you're within the signal strength of that tower, you will receive whatever is available for that package within that area. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. And I did also mention that it would be nice to offer some of this stuff free for people out there that can't afford the packages or whatever. Well, here's the way I look at it. If you buy the box, then you're making this company money. If you dish out, if you go to Walmart or Amazon or whatever, and you dish out that $50, well, that company is making a profit off of you, okay? Now, this is something that I don't want to see funded by the government, because I know when people went from the analog to digital, you know, the government offered those boxes to people, blah, 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 all that stuff. This won't be like that. It will be basically like the cable or satellite. But here's the thing. Okay, once you buy this box, you dish out that $50, you can still receive some channels free, okay? But the thing is, the kicker here is you will have to put up with ads that deal with, you know, wanting to encourage you to buy, you know, the basic package, as well as maybe other ads. Okay, you know how YouTube will put somewhat see-through ads on some videos out there? Like, it'll be like a little bar on the video that's playing or whatever, advertising for something. Well, what this company could do to at least make some ad revenue off of you, being, you know, you getting free service or whatever, is if companies want to put like a banner or whatever over a little bit of what's playing, of like whatever program you're watching, maybe for like so many seconds of that particular program, and you'll have to put up with seeing one of those bars across it. And maybe some channels will have like different programming and different ad things that aren't on like your regular channels out there. Maybe some companies want to make a little want to do advertisement, and you know, this company will allow them to do that on those channels, because it's, you know, being offered for free anyway. And, you know, there will be still a way for this company to make a little bit of money, and it would help maybe some company out there that normally would not be able to afford ad space on a regular network ad slot. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, there's different ways this company can make money with you just being a free watcher, you know. And then on some channels, you know, they could even say, this is a free channel offered from so-and-so company as, you know, as courtesy or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think it would be a good idea just to offer, you know, some of the channels to make it worth your while. If you go and buy this $50 box, you know, at least you would get something, especially some of the local stuff. And then, like I said, some extra stuff that maybe they're testing out, some channels or whatever. And, you know, maybe it can be a way to kind of encourage you to upgrade or whatever. But also, it just would be something. And in either way, you know, somebody's going to make a profit off of you. So, you know, I hope that makes sense to people out there. But that's just, you know, just something I've come up with. But of course, companies can do what they want to or whatever. But, you know, I would just appreciate people's input on it. And you know, as long as you're nice, please don't be mean. Boy, there's some mean people out there on the internet. But, you know, like I said, opinions are welcome as long as they're put to me in a nice way. So anyway, talk to you guys later. Bye.